So, good afternoon, all of you. It is nice to see you after a long time. And today's topic is management of shallow anterior chamber post-trabeculectomy. This is shallow anterior chamber is something we don't want to see. Basically, we hate to see the next day it shallows or even after some time. Let us have a small recap about the grades. Grade 1, peripheral shallowing, peripheral iridocorneal touch. Grade 2, mid peripheral to near pupillary iridocorneal touch. And grade 3 is where lenticular corneal touch is there. So this is the picture we don't want to see. That's why we modify so many surgical techniques. But still it happens because we tend to do something which balances between a leaking and not leaking bone. When looking at the causes of shallow anterior chamber, it can be associated with not only a low IOP, but also with high IOP. The high IOP causes are pupillary block, malignant glaucoma, posterior pushing mechanism, like posterior scleritis. And the low IOP, the usual causes are often wound leak, bleb leak, overfiltration, and cyclodiasis cleft. Let us take one by one. First coming to the leaking bleb. If it is an early leak, there are many options in our hand, like aqueous separations, withholding or reducing the topical steroid to promote fibrosis. Topical aminoglycosides sometimes may help. Pressure patch with torpedo bandage, large diameter bandage contact lens. When it is on the limbus or near the limbus, it may cover the area. Cyanoacrylate glue application or corrective surgery with plus minus AMG is the other option. If it is an old leak, probably there is no role of the above options. Straight away you can go for a bleb revision. This is how it looks. Because of the shape, it is called torpedo bandage. This is a leaking bleb just at the edge somewhere here, and when tissue adhesive was applied, we saw it was forming, and after 7 days it has formed nicely with the tissue adhesive falling off. Late leaking bleb, there is no other option. We have to excise the whole area, and we have to excise the whole area this way and cover it with a scleral patch and close it. Choroidal effusion is one more important entity. This is mostly associated with hypotony. We need to wait. Most of the choroidal effusions, particularly in the early hypotony, they resolves on its own. We have to cut back on the contralateral or systemic beta blockers because they are also known to cause hypotony sometimes. Discontinue any systemic carbonic anhydrase inhibitors and cycloplegia, and modulation of topical steroid, systemic steroids, reform anterior chamber with viscoelastics if it's not resolving on its own, and draining, reforming anterior chamber with the resuturing of the glove may be other option. Cyclodialysis cleft is another notorious entity. It is rarely detected and rarely visible easily because gonioscopy is difficult in a hypotenuse eye. Better visualization with pilocarpine, viscoelastic, and UBM. Cycloplegia, laser, diathermy, cryotherapy, surgical closure are the options. Increased IOP is noted after the cleft closure. While there is early postoperative period, there is low IOP and elevated bleb, think of overfiltration. There, the options are pressure patch, large diameter contact lens, compression cell, injection of autologous serum or blood in the bleb, reform the anterior chamber. It may be necessary to drain the choroidals, and restructuring the flap is the last option. These are the pictures of different sizes of singular rings. And this is how autologous serum, autologous plasma is injected for the overfiltrated bleb. The bleb compression sutures may be of some help if it is a fresh one. And aggressive treatment is required if there is lenticular corneal touch, if there is corneal decompensation and bleb failure. Aggressive treatment also is required if there is kissing choroidals. In due to the time constraint, I will not go to the video, but this is a nice video. I request viewers to see by Dr. Paul Palmer. 2 sets of sutures are applied. Well, the other entity is early postoperative period when there is high IOP with flat blade and the AC also is shallow. Think of the suprachoroidal hemorrhage, aqueous misdirection, and pupillary block. These are the 3 notorious entities to cause this. The predisposing factors for suprachoroidal hemorrhage are distortion of ocular wall, pre-op elevated IOP, postoperative hypotony, advanced age, aphakia, coughing, Valsalva, digital pressure on eyes, atherosclerosis, Sturge-Weber, nanophthalmos, prior surgery, ophthalmos, high myopia, blood dyscrasias or anticoagulation, choroidal hemangioma, and carotid cavernous fistula. The list is really long. There is dramatic and sudden onset of pain in this case, and if it is occurring intraoperatively, immediately closure of the eye is required. In postoperative patients, even with a suture release, it may be precipitated. Supportive therapy, analgesia, aqueous presence, cycloplegia is required. Drain when there is a ultrasonic evidence of liquefaction, because otherwise there may be a fresh hemorrhage. Aqueous misdirection is the other notorious thing. Prior angle closure, iridotomies are not curative in this case, or rather iridotomies are required to establish the diagnosis. Medical therapy, laser therapy, and surgical therapy are the options. Medical therapy with atropine, aqueous suppressions, hyperostomostics, steroids, and phenylephrine. Laser therapy like YAG hyalurolysis, preferably peripherally, so that so that the aqueous have some path to escape, and shrinkage of ciliary processes with argon laser may be other option. And last option is to go for a pars plana vitrectomy along with the anterior hyaloid face rupturing. Pupillary block is the last entity. It is easy to cure it. Rather, after doing a iridotomy, it is cured often, most of the times, and control of inflammation is also necessary for it to prevent the reappearance of the situation. These are the, 3 entities side by side. What we can understand is pupillary block can be easily recovered with PI. Okay, just this is the last one. This is the example you can probably see, even with a medial-dilated pupil. The iris bombi is not that evident, but
I'm really sorry to interrupt, sir, but the time is up. If you could sum it up. Sorry to interrupt.
See, yes.
No, that's okay. So, Surojit, I think that's you presented very well.
Okay, yes, it is over. Yeah. So to conclude, post-trabeculectomy shallow anterior chamber can be associated with both low and high IOP, and we need to pinpoint the cause and treat accordingly, maintaining as much as possible the delicate balance between preserving the visual function and the play function. Thank you so much.
Yeah.